Hi, Councillor McNish, can you hear me?
I can.
Right, we can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
We can just hear you.
I'll talk a little bit louder then.
You say that again?
I'll talk a bit louder.
No, that's better now, thank you.
Welcome elected members, staff, guests and members of the public to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 27th of August 2025. I declare the meeting opened at 5:30 p.m. The City of Busselton acknowledges the Wardandi and Bibliman people as the traditional custodians of this region and pays respect to their elders past and present. Just to let you know, this meeting is being audio recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being live streamed on the City of Busselton YouTube channel. We have a prayer this evening from Father Nathan Barry from the St. Joseph's Catholic Church. So, Father, if you'd like to step forward. If you just hit press. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Begin this prayer in our tradition in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We stand before you, Holy Spirit, as we gather together in your name. With you alone to guide us, make yourself at home in our hearts. Teach us the way we must go and how we are to pursue it. We are weak and sinful. Do not let us promote disorder. Do not let ignorance lead us down the wrong path, nor partiality influence our actions. Let us find in you our unity, so that we may journey together to eternal life, and not stray from the way of truth and what is right. All of this we ask of you who are at work in every place and time, in the communion of the Father and the Son, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father. You're welcome to stay, or we'll understand if you need to leave. In attendance, there is myself, Mayor Cronin. There's Deputy Anne Ryan, Councillor Jodie Lee, Councillor Val Craig, Councillor Michaela Love, Councillor Kate Cox and Councillor Jared Kennedy. I also have Councillor McNish attending via electronic means. Thank you. We have no approved leave of absence, no disclosures of interest, no response to previous questions taken on notice. So we now move on to question time for the public. In accordance to the City's meeting, information session and decision-making processes, the Council policy, public question time will be allocated a minimum of 15 minutes. I request that members of the public asking questions please limit their preamble time. I had noticed that last time, as the preambles got too long, some people were not in the community and not able to ask their questions. And again, reiterate that if you wish to come along and make more of a statement, you are more than welcome to come to the CAS sessions where you can talk with council for 5 minutes. So, we have received one request for a public question time, and that is from Mr. Keith Sims. Mr. Sims, would you like to step forward? Please give your name and where you're from for the record.
Keith Sims, Busselton. Good evening, Mayor, CEO, councillors and everybody else. My first question is to do with the World Theatre. The World Theatre has been out of action for years due to saltwater under construction and is losing money and members. Can you please advise when the Repertory Club will have access to their theatre so they can open and have that lost permanent use of their 3 storage rooms? Have they lost?
Mr. CEO, do you have a response for that? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Mr. Sims. Yeah, I understand the dilemma there. So the city's in regular communication with the Repertory Club and with the committee to prepare the building and have it ready for them to access it as soon as possible, again in the new year. The theatre's had several upgrades to ensure compliance and make sure that it's safe for all users in there as well, obviously. The new design of the World allows for direct access to the backstage as well of the areas of the saltwater, allowing for increased dressing room space during peak times, such as the January pantomime. Additional storage has also been provided for the club in a shed at the rear of the GLC, and all design decisions have been through consultation with the Busselton Repertory Club.
So they have a shed at the GLC?
GLC, yep.
So that means they're losing space in the existing
No,
premise?
there's additional space allowed.
It's additional
at the
space,
back of the
okay.
saltwater, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're not losing anything, they're getting additional. Okay, thank you. The second question is about the saltwater and why the legal advice was initially sought for the need to advertise saltwater under Section 3.59 of the Local Government Act, and the subsequent legal advice that was different. So initially I was told that the council decided, and then I was told that it wasn't the council. So my question is, and I'll firstly, Tony, I'll apologise to you because I didn't open the links that Ben showed me tonight in that email. So the question is, can you confirm the full date of when the previous CEO sought the legal advice and why?
Yep, so through the chair.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr.
if
CEO,
happy-
if you can answer that one.
Thanks
Thank
for the question. So that was on 16th of December 2020 was when the advice was sought. The reason why was to ensure that we were doing our due diligence on the position in the movement moving forward. Yeah, so that answers the question.
Yeah, no, and just so you know, Ben has given me a copy tonight and discussed it with me.
Okay, there should be some information in that for you, Mr.
Yeah.
Sims, I think.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Are there any further questions from the public? Ms. Shackleton, please come forward.
Michelle Shackleton from Abbey. I've got similar questions to Keith. With regards to the legal advice, was exactly the same information supplied to the second legal team as was given to the first?
Mr. CEO?
Yes, it was. I think that was actually articulated in the council resolution for the second decision that was made to get the legal advice. So the same advice and request was given.
Okay, so why didn't the city go directly to the department for the information, which is, you know, obviously the governors of the Local Government Act? Why wouldn't you ask them first instead of
Because I
costing
decided to
money?
go to a qualified lawyer, not a person working for the department. It was also the council decision.
Okay, and where are we? And did no one on the council actually question the advice the first time it was given? Because it does seem like very specific in the Local Government Act that you
So
should
your
have
question is,
advertised.
did the council question
I
the
beg your pardon?
advice? Your question was getting expanding. So what is your direct question, please?
My direct question is did nobody in the council question the fact that you were being told not to that you didn't need to advertise, when again, it does seem like it's fairly obvious that you did?
I think the answer to that, Ms Shackleton, is clearly, otherwise they wouldn't have made the decision to ask for additional advice.
So you
Thank you,
would
Ms
have had to
Shackleton.
get it
Thank
for
you
one
for your
person,
questions.
one question.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Yep,
Thank you.
okay.
Are there any further questions from the gallery? Okay, thank you. We have item 6.2 is a presentation by parties with an interest. You have 5 minutes to present to council. Firstly, on my list, I have Jeff Judge. He'll be speaking on item 17.1, the Dunsborough Lake Sporting Precinct Pavilion. Good evening, Mr. Judge.
Thank you, Mayor Cronin and fellow councillors, to give me 5 minutes to speak on my request as a ratepayer to reject motion 17.1. My name is Jeffrey Judge. I'm a retired building surveyor. In my last position, held the title of Facilities Manager. In my career, I worked for the City of Westminster, the City of London Corporation and Santander Bank, dealing with capital projects and in charge of a large maintenance budget, which one of the properties in my portfolio was a large sports ground which included a pavilion. I am also a fanatical participant and enthusiast of all sports. Until a year ago, I was a dog walker. Mayor Krogan may remember he presented me with a certificate of appreciation as a nominee of a senior community citizen in recognition of my efforts to maintain and clean the environment of green open spaces. As I believe these are one of the jewels in the crown of the Shire of Busselton and should be preserved for all and used for the enjoyment for, alongside everyone, the 5 outdoor sports. The cost of the new pavilion has spiralled out of control. I have drawn a proposed plan, I may add, on my kitchen island bench, so it's not the greatest, I don't think. As you can see on the screen, with an indicative cost of 3 million, which is the mid-range of 3 costs obtained per metre squared. The sum could be further reduced once grants and partnerships have been pursued. Additional plans show the position of the new pavilion at the site of the old one to reduce cost, as all the infrastructure is in place with only additional cost of demolition. This would free up funding for 2 dual-purpose indoor courts to accommodate basketball and netball, along with facilities, changing rooms, toilets and refreshment area, meeting room. Cricket could also be able to use these facilities during summer. In addition, it would be ideal for wheelchair sports with easy access, making the facility more inclusive. The site for this building would be perfect fit for the space that has been designated by the council for the pavilion only, which is alongside the new outdoor courts at the new sporting precinct. Utilising the latest concrete panel design, the cost base would be reduced, enabling an effective return per metre squared of ratepayers' money to provide this much-needed facility in Dunsborough. I do not believe that ratepayers surrounding the new precinct have been informed of the sheer volume of sports activities or consulted on the environmental impact of the new pavilion at the Shire's proposed site, i.e. noise, air pollution, volume of traffic, floodlights on to 11 a.m. in a highly built-up residential area. As shown on my pitch plan, soccer could field 250 players plus trainers and spectators in 1 hour. As the current site is totally isolated and in the corner of Caves Road and Dunsborough Lakes Drive, with a frontage of shops, town shops, the golf course and rear bush reserve, there is no more increase in the environmental impact than at present. It should not be forgotten that the green open spaces are managed by the council members and officers of the council, who act as custodians and administrators of such land for the ratepayers. To pass this resolution without consultation with possible new councillors after the election would be a grave injustice to the ratepayers, who will be denied the opportunity to debate with prospective and existing councillors on my proposals to reduce costs and achieve the objective to enhance and grow the sporting activities of the Shire in Dunsborough. Once again, I thank Mayor Cronin and fellow councillors for giving me this opportunity to speak. I respectfully request motion 17.1 be voted against.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next, we have Natasha Blefari from the DTFC. And again, speaking on item 17.1, Dunsborough Lakes Sporting Precinct Pavilion.
Oh, it's on. Okay, got this timed right this time, so hopefully we'll get through it in the 5 minutes. I've got a few points to speak about, and so does James. Firstly, I'd just like to, as you mentioned, we're speaking on item 17.1. Our club wasn't consulted about this motion before it was put in, so we haven't had an opportunity to comment on any of the aspects. We're certainly disappointed that this motion has been brought forward after entirely contradictory communications were made with the clubs following the workshop with elected members on the 8th of August 2025. At that time, we felt genuine collaboration was finally occurring, something our club has long pushed for and strongly values. To now see this process undermined by a motion that disregards those discussions is frustrating and concerning. If anything, it has only created division within our community. I've personally spoken with representatives from netball, basketball and cricket, including some as recent today, and all have expressed their support of our club's requirements, and we also understand and respect their needs. In contrast, I've never had once a discussion with any AFL representative, and to our knowledge, they have no understanding of our requirements. We are a club of more than 1,000 members, and as you know, there's a petition still outstanding with the council with over 500 signatures on this very matter. For some time, we have been pushing to engage constructively on contributing financially to a facility that genuinely meets our requirements. We also contributed to the current design of the Northern Pavilion, yet none of our key aspects were included, every one of them rejected. Promises and assurances have been made to our club, only to be taken away repeatedly. This motion as it stands, and particularly item 4, does not provide our club with the certainty it needs to ensure our requirements are met. Consistent with key messages outlined in our previous presentation, we request genuine transparent engagement in the development of the mid-pitch pavilion as part of the actions you have listed for item 4, so that our members and the wider community can have the confidence that the facility will be genuinely considered and deliver what is actually needed.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors, Mayor and CEO. I've spoken last week, so this is, I'm not going to refresh what I said there, but the Sporting Club Summit itself was a breath of fresh air for us as a club from all of the misinformation and bullying that's been going on in the background, not just against our club, but against our committee members individually as well. This has gone to painting our club in a negative light through this process. This was no more evident and message circulated today amongst other sporting clubs, basically as a way of saying, let's all go in and vote in this process. As noted by Councillor Lee at the Sporting Summit, the Council has an obligation to ensure all parties are considered and are happy, and it's not a majority rules outcome. The Council members agreed that our club has not been fairly treated after reviewing all of the information we have provided on the day. The reason we are disappointed in this motion is the grey areas around point 4. We are forced to plead that we're included in the ongoing discussions around point 4 and not left with the current level of uncertainty the motion enables. We really hope the discussions held at the summit are more than just lost words. We are a strong club, and our growth, especially amongst our female members, is increasing year on year. Through years of hard work, unpaid volunteer hours, our club's recently awarded Level 2 status by Football West. One of only 2 clubs in the southwest to achieve this, and one of only 7 in Western Australia to achieve this. As a club, we can't meet our strategic plan outcomes without the facility and the full backing of the City of Busselton. A third activated green space and facility designed for spectator comfort in a winter sport are key, not just to growth of our club, but the ongoing viability and financial viability of the club. So ultimately, that's all we're asking for is the clarity around point 4 of the motion, and just to be heard so that we're not constantly fighting the same fight over and over, because it's very tiring.
Thank you.
Next, we have Matt Lapidi and Amanda Cutler from cricket, basketball, netball and AFL clubs. Again, speaking on item 17.1, Dunsborough Lakes Sporting Precinct and Pavilion.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor, excuse me, do you mind if we have 4 people up here while we're talking today? 2 reasons is that we are a united voice. I'm going to show the community and the councillors that we are united in 4 groups, being AFL, netball, cricket and basketball, and also the chamber time as well, with we speak once.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that you'll be not speaking for 20 minutes, so yes, please. Sorry, can we pause that? Maybe just say who you all are so that we're aware for the...
So Matt Lapidi, cricket. We have Cheryl from netball.
White for netball.
And Mark Delane, AFL.
And Amanda Cutler from basketball.
Thank you very much. You've got 5 minutes to present to council.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors. We have representation here today from cricket, basketball, netball and AFL. And we speak as a unified voice in support of motion 17.1. We thank you, Mayor Phil Cronin, for putting forward this very thought-out 5-part motion addressing what we feel is all the user groups' needs. This motion will reactivate the Dunsborough Lake Sporting Precinct, which is part of Priority 1 in the Sport and Rec Facility Strategy. The DLSP has been a long-term project that now requires the pavilion to be built to enable the green space to be activated and allow the court sport user groups to have much-needed facilities. Over the last 5 years, due to many circumstances beyond the control of our unified user groups, this project has been held up time and time again. We are desperately trying to move this project forward so we can enable activation of all the various other projects in the strategy, but unfortunately we are stuck on Priority 1. The initial budget 5 years ago was 1.3 million, which then escalated to 3.4 3 years ago, which we as clubs were happy with, and now due to continued delays and stalling, it's now estimated at 6.5. So we really don't know what it's going to be until we put it out to tender. So any further delays will again see the costs escalate, and you as councillors have approved this year's financial budget, which includes 6.5 million. So let's proceed as you've already agreed, please. As stated in the motion, the workshop was recently conducted with sporting groups and councillors. There was no conclusive outcome from the motion, from the workshop. Hence, Mayor Cronin has now presented this motion that now addresses all the needs without holding up the pavilion construction any further. As a unified voice, we are in full support of the new motion, and we are in full support of the soccer clubhouse at the new location that they have requested. We do not stand in the way of this happening, and we, as Natasha mentioned, there has been conversations today and we are in full support. And we do kindly request that soccer don't stand in the way of the pavilion being constructed for the 3 user clubs. So the pavilion will be home to 3 user groups at this stage. There potentially will be more. Basketball, netball and cricket. So it will be a well-utilised facility by 1,567 Dunsborough playing members. So that's the combination of our playing members, not to mention the families, friends and the social spaces it will create for the community. Our club committees and our members are in full support of this. During construction, we look forward to working with city officers to work out a management model, and we know that we'll be able to negotiate this model to work successfully for our clubs as we rely on our canteens for fundraising to operate. We are grateful that the motion also investigates the inclusion of indoor courts at the DLSP, connected or in close proximity to the new pavilion. So this brings this part of the strategy forward, which we're very grateful for. So identifying this need and putting some action to this is great news at both club and association levels for court sports, as well as the many other indoor court user groups. As we all know, indoor courts are much needed in City of Busselton. in both towns as our 2,229 basketball members are bursting the seams of the four courts that we have, along with all other user groups of the indoor courts all year round. So this could be a short-term solution to the indoor court situation in the city of Busselton, whilst addressing the constant requests of the Dunsborough basketball community over many years to increase their one indoor court in the town. So this new motion also reactivates the site selection process for the District Leisure and Rec Centre, which is the new home for the 6 indoor courts in the city of Busselton, which has been halted since the motion was put forward in May 3 months ago to stop the DLSP pavilion. Matt, did you want to? No? In conclusion, we would like to urge the councillors to vote in support of motion 17.1 to see the Dunsborough Lake Sporting Precinct project continue to progress and the pavilion to be built. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Okay, I will move on to item 8, confirmation receipt of the minutes, that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 13th of August 2025 be confirmed as a true and correct record. Do I have a mover? Move Councillor Cagg, seconded Councillor Love. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried 8-0. Thank you. So, item brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. As we do have a lot of people in the public gallery, I will actually bring forward item 17.1 so that you do not have to sit through a whole council meeting should you not wish to. So, item 17.1 is the Dunsborough Lake Sporting Precinct Pavilion. Motion put forward by myself. I will move that motion. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Cagg. Is there opposition? There being opposition, I will now speak to my motion, put my motion. Look, I think it's been a long time in the running, but I thought just a little bit of history. It was April 2019 when we had the consultation that commenced on the City of Busselton Sport and Recreation Facility Strategy, actually when I started 6 years ago on council. 3rd of May 2020, the council adopted the City of Busselton Sport and Recreational Facility Strategy. That was the 2020-2030 SRFS. In there was recommended priority in the SRFS is the development of the new sporting precinct at the Dunsborough Lakes Sporting Precinct, lots of words in here, DLSP. We move on to September 2020. The council endorsed an application for funding to construct stages 1 and 2 of the DLSP. During 2021, the pavilion project was progressed to a design and costing stage, with a pavilion to be located, as per the SRFS, on the northern perimeter of the playing fields and adjacent to the multi-purpose courts. Engagement with the club user groups has been ongoing since 2021, 4 years plus, to refine the design to meet the user requirements. Finally, in March 2024, the council resolved to proceed with the pavilion project. In May 28th in 2025, the motion put forward by Councillor McNeish was to pause the project and request that the CEO to schedule a workshop prior to the August 2025 for the elected members to review the strategic priorities for indoor court and rectangular grass sports provisions in Dunsborough and the broader district, and A, that the stakeholder club's presidents to be invited into the proposed workshop, B, that the workshop be independently facilitated, and C, the elected members are asked to email the CEO ahead of the workshop what they would like to address in the workshop, and point 2 obviously being to pause this project. The pavilion, as we know, is in the budget. As we've heard today, the price has gone from 1.3 to 3.5 to 6.5. We know that delaying projects costs. It costs the community, it costs the ratepayers, and not only that, it's cost those that wish to use that space. As we say, and I appreciate Jeff Judge for his great work in picking up the dog poo, but it needs to be progressed onto a playing field. So we've had the workshop. Did we listen? Yes, we did. Did we report back to you? Yes, we did. Did I listen to that response? Yes, I did. And yes, the old saying that you can keep some of the people happy some of the time, not all of the people happy all of the time, is probably very true. And none of our decisions are easy. We are never going to please everyone in what we do because we are a diverse community. We are from different backgrounds, different ages, different sporting. So this motion is now to press that pause button again and hit play. Councillors, I would commend you to vote yes on this motion. Thank you. Councillor Cade, do you wish to speak?
Thanks, Mayor Cronin. Yes, I will take the opportunity as seconder. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for this notice of motion. I just want to speak in support of this motion and really to back what a lot of us have been hearing for a long time now from the sporting community in Dunsborough. We've had years of consultation on the pavilion at Dunsborough Lake Sporting Precinct, nearly 5 years now. And after all that, after countless meetings, design tweaks and compromises, it's time to move forward and build this. The workshop we had recently made that crystal clear. Every sporting group in the room, cricket, footy, netball, basketball, and yes, even soccer, said they want to see progress. They want this pavilion built. They're ready to go. Now, sure, not everyone has agreed on every detail. That's expected. But if we waited for full agreement on every single decision in this chamber, we'd never get anything done. We have a system that works on majority decisions, and once something's resolved, it becomes a decision of council. We need to back those decisions and see them through. The site we've selected has services already in place. Lighting is in, and it supports the investments we've already made in the ovals, the outdoor courts, cricket nets, and the parking. The only thing missing is the pavilion itself, which is essential to actually use the precinct properly. Until that's in place, the rest of the facility can't function the way it's meant to. I know soccer still has some concerns, particularly about wanting their own facility in a different location, more central to their pitch. And this motion doesn't ignore that. It actually allows for further investigation into whether that's feasible, including what it would cost, what infrastructure would be needed, and how it might impact other priorities. That's a fair and balanced way to handle it. At the same time, the indoor court situation in Dunsborough has become more urgent than expected. The 2020-30 strategy simply hasn't kept up with the growth we've seen since COVID, especially in youth sport. Again, this motion doesn't derail anything. It just asks for that need to be properly looked into and considered in future planning. And then in early 2026, Council will come back together with the full picture, with all the facts and figures, and make informed decisions on those future facilities. That's good planning. That's being responsible. But none of this should hold up the pavilion now. The sporting groups are rightly frustrated. They've been patient, they've engaged, they've adapted. Now they want to see action, and frankly, so do I. Let's move ahead and deliver what we've committed to. Let's activate that green space, reduce pressure on other fields around town, and finally give those growing clubs a home base they deserve. So, councillors, I'm asking you to please support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will ask the gallery to... Quiet. Thank you. Is there a speaker against? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. I speak against, and I actually support the alternative that Councillor McNish has supplied. It's here in front of us. On the 20th of the 3rd, 24 meeting, some councillors begged to hold a summit. We know that sport and rec is the highest priority for our residents. Then council resolved to a consultant costing $4,400 to run a workshop for some 6 hours. We invited user groups, and the outcome of the notes provided by him were a highly experienced consultant, and he provided his priorities. To have a workshop, not even wait until the consultant's report comes out before putting up this motion.
Point of clarification. Mr. CEO, was there a report that was meant to come out?
There was briefing notes, from what I understand. Is that right, Mr. Bubba?
Yes, there was some workshop outcomes that the consultant provided. I think it was a page or two that were provided out to elected members.
At 9:23 on Wednesday, the 20th of August, and your motion was some 7 days prior to the receipt of that.
Well, okay, thank you.
The Mayor and his reasons after completing a 6-hour workshop, the resounding response was to continue with the current pavilion design. I'm sorry, but I must have been at the wrong workshop. Even Director Barber stated during the workshop last Friday it was clear that there was interest by the elected members in pursuing an alternative way forward, which, if endorsed by Council, would result in the City no longer proceeding with the construction of the proposed pavilion and instead potentially involve the inclusion of a range of other sporting facilities, such as indoor courts. No, what happened again was that clubs were contacted by staff and their hopes built up again in a plan that is suboptimal and fiscally irresponsible and misuse of ratepayers' funds. The biggest sporting group requirement right now is basketball with 72 teams. Despite the rhetoric, the report states officers support progressing with the pavilion project. We heard Amanda say last week that 5 clubs she represented were prepared to contribute. How much? Soccer is willing to put in money and have been begging to do so, but have been denied so far. Let's hope that changes. According to the Director in an email of the 21st of July, it states, State Government CSRFF grant was submitted in 2022 for the proposed pavilion, estimated then at only $3 million. The application sought up to 1/3 of the cost. It was unsuccessful and the following feedback was received. Change rooms and ablutions are considered a priority by the state government. Pavilion elements such as social space, kitchen administration and viewing areas were deemed to have minimal impact on physical activity and thus lower priority. Not surprising then that the costs have blown out. Sounds like another project the state would not fund, but ratepayers will bear significant cost for many years to come. Further, the Department of Local Government maintains the same guidelines, yet this is not being demonstrated in the current iteration of the pavilion. Point 3 of your motion, Mayor, says request the CEO to investigate the inclusion of indoor sports in Dunsborough, connected or in close proximity to the new pavilion as part of the review. How? To the north, there are ecological constraints. To the right of that, there are constructed courts. To the left of that, there's car parking, and in front of it is established green space. It is also expected that soccer will contribute, owned and operated in clause 4 of the motion, and I know this is a possibility, but up until now, they've been completely ignored. As to management plan, there is none. There never has been. Some clubs do not use the facilities at Barnard Park. It's too expensive. Concerts are now run there at that facility to offset costs. Will this playing space be used in the same way? What will be the insurance costs, the electricity costs, the water costs to the clubs? Do you know? No. Expectations need to be managed, but I'm at a loss to understand how we can get so far down the road and still be considering a suboptimal outcome. You would think we would learn lessons with the cost overruns at the Performing Arts Centre, but it seems we've learned nothing. Councillors, the Sport and Rec said that this whole project was supposed to be $5.1 million. This pavilion is now being priced at $6.5 million. Is this just another exercise of build at any cost and run at any loss? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Speaker 4. Councillor Kennedy.
Yes. I'll be speaking for the motion, and we've covered off quite a few points there. So I'm just going to raise a few that haven't been raised yet. But during the workshop, I mean, we just had some presentations from most of the clubs there, and you can see the outcomes of that workshop was that most of the clubs were in favour of proceeding. An interesting discussion I had with the facilitator of the workshop. It was in the toilets, but just to liven up the moment. It was you can't turn a car if it isn't moving. And so we've got so many projects going across the city and we have to keep going. This has been in consultation for so long and we need to make a decision. Point number 4 of this amendment in front of us, I would like to, I think it's good. It gives the opportunity for soccer to explore their needs without the delays to the other clubs. And I would like to make an amendment to that, but I'll have a look at that at the end. It's just a small amendment. Point 5, I think of importance here is if we look at the council plan, and we don't have many projects into the future because we have so many in front of us that we need to tick off. And for me, I think that is a strategic risk. We have to keep moving and tick off these priorities. So if we just go back to the amendment that I was seeking to move.
Sure.
If that's on the screen.
Just wait.
It was simply to ensure, as the soccer club presented before, that they're included in consultation with point 4. And so I am seeking a seconder.
I'll second that.
Very good.
So now we will vote on that. Yeah. So because I've seconded it, I'll allow you now to speak to that amendment.
I feel I have nothing further to add to this amendment. It's quite simple, so
Sure.
I will sit down.
Thank you. As seconder, I concur with what Councillor Kennedy said. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, the amendment is carried. Thank you. You've got to put a vote. Sorry, no opposition. Okay, may I have a vote on that amendment, please? Okay, it is, so Councillor Cronin, Councillor Craig, Councillor McNeish, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox, Councillor Kennedy, those against, Councillor Ryan and Councillor Lee. The amendment, no, he voted for it. Thank you. So the motion, the amendment is carried 6-2. The substantive motion will now be in front of us. Thank you. That's it. Sorry, we'll just... Sure, okay. If you just bear with us. That's... Happy with that? Thank you. Do I have a speaker against? Councillor Lee.
Thank you. I understand the frustration from everyone involved, but I don't want to see this go ahead because everyone's frustrated. We had a process and we decided, council decided, to delay the progress, to do a workshop, which we did, and then to progress from there. So I'm a bit perplexed by this motion because the motion states, as part of the reasons, after completing a 6-hour workshop that included 2 hours both as a combined group as well as individual presentations from 6 sporting groups, the resounding response was to continue with the current pavilion design and activate the green space that is now so desperately needed. Yet, in the email that we see from the director, it said, during the workshop on Friday the 8th of August, it was clear there was interest by the elected members in pursuing an alternate way forward, which, if endorsed by the council, would result in the city no longer proceeding with the construction of the proposed Dunsborough Lake Sporting Pavilion and instead potentially involve the inclusion of a range of other sporting facilities. It then went on to say, in the email, while this possible alternative has not been formally considered or decided upon by the council, city officers have now been tasked with reviewing the resourcing impact this would have on the city. So we'd already decided that at the workshop. The feedback from the director stated that the outcomes of the workshop, facilitated by someone very experienced in facilitating workshops, that we would review the pavilion design. And I do hear people talk about the fact that soccer wasn't consulted. There were lots of things that have gone on in the last 5 years that have changed things dramatically. But when we talk about soccer not feeling consulted for whatever reason, we're actually not talking about the elite competitors of the Dunsborough District Knitters of Socks for Centipedes, of which there are 0 members. We're talking about the soccer club, which has over 1,000 members and continues to be the largest growing sport in the country. So it makes sense that now that they are at the table, that they are a part of this. Let's not also forget that last year it was decided by council that we would have a specific sport and rec fund to identify a location for a district facility because we've outgrown the GLC and we need to have something bigger and better for a growing community. To that end, we must take this into consideration, that this pavilion design was done in 2021. That was a long time ago. There are a lot of things that have changed. We are growing exponentially as a district. It would be irresponsible of us to spend this money on this pavilion, which doesn't suit all playing groups, when we know we are building one for the future and our ratepayers have just had 2% interest rates increased to fund that. So surely we are not here for short-term solutions. That's not our job. Our job is strategic, long-term solutions. There's lots of other people in the community that don't know the discussions we've had about the district sporting precinct that we're going to put together. We have that information. And yet you don't want to consider it when you're talking about building this particular pavilion. We need indoor courts. We need to have something activating that green space. There's no question, and there's no question that we need it as soon as possible. There is not a time, though, for a knee-jerk reaction. Let's follow the process that we said we would follow. We did the workshop, we've got the outcomes, we follow the process, and when the new council comes in after the elections, we've got representation from the community that is fresh eyes looking at this, and we make sure that it is full steam ahead as soon as it can be without irresponsibly throwing money into something that is not fit for purpose.
Thank you. Speaker 4. Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We all acknowledge that the demand for sporting infrastructure in Dunsborough is rapidly increasing in line with population growth. Further delaying the construction of the pavilion will only result in further escalation of the costs and exacerbate frustration from the sporting community. It's imperative to activate this green space as soon as possible. The absence of this facility diminishes the overall functionality of the space. Without a pavilion, the investment already made in the precinct remains incomplete and underutilised. Proceeding with the pavilion will provide certainty to local clubs, some of whom are currently operating with inadequate facilities. It also demonstrates to the Dunsborough community that they deserve to have sporting facilities that are comparable to Busselton. The recent workshop, in which we were able to listen and engage with all the sporting groups on this matter, obviously different councillors got different things out of that workshop. Initially, my thoughts from the workshop were great. Let's redesign the pavilion and put indoor courts in it. Well, having gone away and thought about that, that's just going to add millions of dollars to this build. We've already budgeted for the current pavilion. And what was clarified for me from the workshop, after I had some time in the following week to digest the information that we heard, was one, we need to progress with the building of the pavilion in its current design. Two, further investigation should be undertaken regarding a small clubhouse for soccer. And three, the next sporting priority for Dunsborough is definitely indoor court space. I do not agree that this notice of motion is a suboptimal outcome, and I do believe that we are following a process that has been undertaken over 6 years. Therefore, councillors, I urge you to support this motion so we can finally move forward with momentum, certainty, and finally some enthusiasm.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Thank you. Do I have a speaker against? Councillor McNish.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I speak against, and I apologise for not standing up, but then I'll be off screen. It's the word suboptimal has been used, but it's difficult to understand what an optimal outcome would really be, given the different perceptions of what happened in the workshop. And my perception certainly differs from those expressed in your notice of motion and the reasons. A number of points need to be addressed from the discussion so far. To progress with a pavilion design as has been drafted a year ago given what's happened, would not be wise. I'm thinking that there was definitely a need for new courts, covered courts, to be positioned, designed, and if that's going to be a necessity and a driver for design, one must then work whatever else remains in terms of storage and club room and kiosk around that major structure. My understanding is, reasonably clear understanding is that there won't be any clearing of vegetation to the north. There is courts already in place and a car park and a footprint area that would, to my mind, be utilised for covered courts. That will then have serious design implications for the design of what remains for the facility. And I just don't want to continue to keep calling it the pavilion, because that was the past design. So if soccer is going with the third oval, which is pleasing to see, and I congratulate that amendment, out to the east, what remains needs to then be built in around what the next priority, which is establishing the indoor courts. There is limited space there. Now, if the indoor courts are sprung with floors a high value, they have to be, that facility has to be staffed. Now, that's going to be a city-run staffing model, like the NCC. And that need to get a head around how that's going to work. It's different to an isolated, separated pavilion that is potentially club run. So two very different beasts. And, you know, if I was the architect asked to design, that would be the first question I'd be needing to address. So this is premature unless there is a commitment for covered courts. And I've suggested in my alternative there be two, because that's what I heard coming out of the workshop. Unfortunately, there hasn't been the time or seemingly the desire from some to revisit the Sport and Rec district plan, which would quantify the number of courts and where they would go in the various parts of the district. And my alternative suggests that needs to be done. So without the ability to put my alternative, you know, on the screen and talk to that, because we're currently talking about this your nom, I'm going to propose an amendment, and the amendment would be that item 3 indicate that 2 courts be a design parameter. At least that gives some certainty or commitment to the community and some certainty around the design. Item 4, include a lease, draft lease, be drawn up for soccer to pore over and negotiate for its serviced mid-pitch site. And item 5 needs to include a management plan for any shared facility. And that the reason for that is, as I alluded before, a city staffed facility.
So rather than you speak to those amendments, could you send those through so we can put them up on the screen, please?
Look, yeah, I'm not the councillor that reads from a predetermined screed. You know, I'm listening here and working on the fly, because you know, that's what happens in a council meeting. So these amendments, I'm trying to more clarify.
Can I request that you put those amendments, please?
I just tried to put them, sir. You know, I was reading them out.
Well, you'll need to.
The amendment then to item 3.
Are you? Would it be easier if you just typed these and sent them through, and I'll?
I doubt it.
Sorry.
Item 3.
All right, that's okay. All right, if you could say so. Item 3, please go.
It would help if the text on the screen is just marginally bigger, because it's just in micro form from what I'm looking at. Could that be done? Yeah, great. Thank you. Request the CEO to investigate inclusion of 2 indoor courts. Yeah, and that's good. Thank you. Item 4. Go down to item 4.
You're not going over the original.
Request the CEO to investigate bringing forward the delivery of the eastern extension of playing fields at Dunsborough Lake Sporting Facility Precinct on that lot on Monty Boulevard, and providing a location, providing a lease and a location for a club constructed and owned, and owned and operated soccer. I need the word serviced in there. Yeah, serviced plot for clubhouse. And item 5, perhaps at the end, including a management plan for any facility. Thank you.
And I,
Yeah.
if I'm,
might do this as a. Sorry, I might do this as a complex one and split into parts, but also if it could be highlighted, those changes now, if that's possible. Councillor Love, you had a question?
I was just going to say that could it be, just highlighted so that we can easily identify which bits have been changed.
Sorry about
And the highlight needs to be at the end of item 5. Thank you. Am I also able to ask a question at this point?
You may ask a question of clarification, yes?
Item 5, the second last line is to inform the direction for the updated sport and recreation facilities strategy. Am I correct in assuming that will be the district-wide strategy? Because the current one is outdated.
Well, if hypothetically we were to build 4 courts in Dunsborough, it would completely change our plans. So it would naturally inform the movement forward, and no clear decisions being made on the District Leisure and Recreation Centre at this point. So this would inform any future decisions based on what we now have.
Well, the word you've used capitals, so I'm assuming it's a document. It is a sport and recreation facilities strategy. So my question again is that the same document as we've currently got for 2020 to 30?
That is correct.
Well, if that could be just made certain, that would be terrific as well.
That's the only one we have. It's the SRFS that is current. It's like a long-term financial plan or a council plan.
All right. Well, as long as it's clear to everyone, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Are we happy? So what I will do is I'll put forward Amendment 1, which is point 3, which to inclusion of 2 indoor courts. Do I have a mover? Moved, Councillor McNeish. Seconded, Councillor Craig. Do you have a question?
I do have a question, just because you've gone down to the 3rd point. But if you start at 1, if you do that...
No, I'm going through the amendments first. So we need to agree on the amendments to return to a substantive motion. Is there opposition? There being opposition, Councillor McNeish, please speak to your amendment.
The first aspect of the amendment that we're dealing with being 2 indoor courts is that in the workshop, I talked to a representative from basketball and netball, and I said, how many courts do you think you would need to get you by until we have time to involve ourselves in the review of the district sport and rec plan, the same plan that you confirmed in item 5 that we need to review? The answer was 2, okay? And so with some certainty about progressing with 2, that drives what else happens on the site. It's the major driver for that location in the north. So with that being the highest or equal highest pursuit of sport and rec for more indoor courts for those two sports and other sports, that needs to come through in this motion. So for those two basic reasons, I think it's important to proceed with that design driver and needs meter of 2 indoor courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Craig, do you wish to speak?
Only in support of the 2 courts, because it says in close proximity, and I believe only 2 courts would be able to be put on that side in close proximity.
Thank you. Is there opposition? Councillor Love?
All that I am going to say to this point is the reason I oppose is whilst we have had mappings and there is quite an extensive amount of bushland that abuts some of these plans, we actually don't know if we're unable to cut that down and expand. Just because something has like native flora and fauna doesn't actually prevent us from applying for approval to cut stuff down if we need to. And I'd hate to restrict the CEO or the future CEO in investigating only 2 indoor courts because it was from my understanding during the workshop that it would be needed at least 4 indoor courts for the medium to, well, short to medium term really, because yeah, when you start to look at the long term, we're going to need even more than that from my understanding. So I just don't see the point in restricting it. Inclusion of indoor courts, why is it necessary to put a number at the front?
Thank you, Councillor Love. Speaker for? Speaker against? I'll actually just raise against. And again, I think the word courts is more than 1. So courts could be 2 or more. As much as we love to use words, sometimes words can lock us in. It might be more cost effective to build 3 courts rather than 2. We might find that by the time this goes ahead, the numbers have changed of the basketball people and they have lots more members, and we might find that we could change things around. So I just don't think it's required. Inclusion of indoor courts. Thank you. Speaker for? Speaker against? Councillor McNeish, you've got your rebuttal.
Well, if someone asked me to design a car park, the first question is, how many cars? So if someone asked me to design some indoor courts, the obvious question is, how many courts? And in particular, this is a constrained site, a heavily constrained site. So we've seen what's happened with the Vass Yellingup Road and the clearing permit. Now, there are matured peppies there that are about 60, 70 years old from my observation.
This is a rebuttal, sorry.
Yeah, and so Councillor Love has raised the issue about clearing, and so I'm rebutting that. We would need to investigate the clearing if we were requiring to clear land. So specifying 2 indoor courts, which would fit in the footprint now, would be a design driver to moving on with this thing with some sort of certainty. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Therefore,
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, can I just ask a question?
You may clarify, Councillor Cox.
Point of clarification, can we actually fit 2 indoor courts in the space there? Like who's said that? Where's that come from? Where's that information come from? I'm just curious to know where someone or who's said that 2 indoor courts can fit in the space, because it's been raised numerous times. So I'm at a loss as to where that's come from.
I'm not aware of it then, so it hasn't been raised.
So it's not actually come from any design review or anything that 2 actual courts can fit in that space specifically.
Speculation.
Speculation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and therefore I put the amendment in front of you. All those in favour? Councillor McNeish, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Lee. Those opposed? Mayor Cronin, Councillor Val Kay, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox and Councillor Kennedy. amendment is lost. 3-5. I'll move on to the second amendment. Do I have a mover for this amendment? Moved, Councillor McNeish, seconded. Councillor Ryan. Is there opposition? There is opposition. Councillor McNeish, do you wish to speak to your amendment?
Thanks, sir. Everything comes down to what's written on the paper that is going to be the controlling document for going forward. You know, people rent a house, they have a mortgage, it's all covered by documentation. The city needs to be very clear on what it's offering, that being a serviced plot of X dimensions, exactly where and how that will be accessed, because it'll be an isolated plot in the middle of the field. So there needs to be access and egress. And my alternative talked about investigating the future access and egress to the whole grounds from Diamante Boulevard. But I'm assuming that will come up in negotiating a draft lease. So again, this is about some certainty. It's about clarity of direction. It should happen in the normal course of events anyway, but I'm just making sure that when people use words in discussions, that they're talking to a document. That document is being built up over the weeks and months that it is negotiated, and all the fine points are reviewed. And it's something that is best practice, and we really should put in place for all our community groups using our facilities. And we do have leases, but this will be an important document, and it just needs to be part of this of your motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan, do you wish to speak?
Reserve my right.
Okay. Speakers against. Councillor Cox.
Point of order.
Yes.
Yes.
Point of order.
Can I move a procedural motion, whether that's valid now, for the motion to be put?
You may, because the motion's in play. So I have a motion to put the motion. Moved Councillor Kennedy, seconded. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Seconded Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, the motion, all those in favour? Motion is carried. There will be no more speaking on this item. Therefore, I now put the amendment. No, Councillor McNeish, you get a right to your rebuttal to Councillor Cox's nothing. So there's no rebuttal. So, therefore, I put the amendment before you. All those in favour? Sorry, no. All right. What is in front of you? So I'm just putting the amendment in front. So all those in favour?
It's just the bits in yellow.
Yeah, just the bits in yellow. Councillor McNeish, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Lee, Councillor Cagg and Councillor Love. All those against? Councillor Cox, Councillor Kennedy and Mayor Cronin. So the carried 5-3. Okay, the third amendment.
Point of clarification, if I may.
Sure, certainly, Councillor.
I don't know who to direct this to, but is it like a normal standard, like best practice to do a management plan for a facility that we haven't not built yet? Can anybody give me some sort of indication as to what would be like Department of Local Government's best standard of practice?
We did one for saltwater to inform the design of the building. Yeah, you can do them to inform the design of the building, yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question of
Yes, certainly,
clarification?
Councillor Lee.
Can I just ask, was there a management plan for Barnard Park put in place?
Through Director Barber, if you wish to answer that. Thank you.
Through Mr Mayor, there is one, but I don't know at what point in time during that project it was put in place.
Thanks.
I can probably help. Yeah, it was a co-design process with the clubs that were going to operate out of the building.
Question, if I may, just further on that. It was co-designed, but was there a management plan when it...
So how the building would operate and be managed would inform the design, yeah.
And at what point was there fees and charges and insurance and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, I don't know
So there
that
hasn't
level of
been one.
detail, no.
So, question to Director Palmer then. So this is something that would naturally occur when we're talking about the updated sport and recreation facility strategy, including a management plan for any facility. Just...
For any facilities, probably a bit broad. I mean, would you do it for a toilet block? A change room? For any facility in the sport and rec facility strategy?
Yeah,
Do
Councillor
you want to
Manish,
add the word? Would you like to prefer to add the word therein at the end? Now we've clarified what the sport and recreation facilities strategy is. That's a high-level document. So, we're working at major facilities, and they need to all be run with cognizant of a management plan. That's just basic good governance.
How do we put a management plan into a strategy? So we're going to build something and yet we don't know.
Yeah, well, the strategy would make certain comment that every major facility needs a management plan, and indeed any toilet block needs it has its own asset management plan.
Okay, Director Barber.
Can I please just clarify? This is indicating that there will be an updated sport and recreation facility strategy. That is going to include a number of facilities, including the District Leisure Centre.
Yeah.
Is this suggesting that we're going to be doing a management plan for all the facilities in a 10-year sport and rec facilities plan to bring to this workshop? Because every management plan will be bespoke to the facility.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we've clarified that. So, okay, I will now, do you wish to move this motion? This amendment, Councillor Manish? In light
given
of the
comment.
Sorry?
Well, absolutely. I mean, a management plan is absolutely vital, and it's been the flaw in the system to date. So, but we need to fine tune it, I would think, given just the last comment from Director Barber, including bespoke management plans for including the need for management plans or bespoke management plans for those facilities identified in the strategy as and when they are coming up for consideration for design. Because a management plan, like Director Palmer says, informs the design. So we're not going to actually do the management plan ahead, for something that won't be built for 10 years. But when we're talking about starting to scope up the major facilities, they have to have a management plan as part of that scoping exercise.
Mr. CEO.
Yeah, point of clarification, if I could, Mr. Mayor. So can I just ask a question, Councillor McNish? So is that as simply as identifying which ones would require a management plan at any point in time, as Director Barber's saying that it's got a 10-year time frame? I'm pretty sure you're not going to know what your management plan would look like for a district level facility at this point in time. It would require a lot of work. So is that something that's just identifying that will require a management plan And then you've got the short-term ones, if they're to be delivered in 1 year, that's the expectation. There would be one or could be one.
You're correct, and that's why you're the CEO. So it identifies the need for such management plans and the need to kick them into place when you're considering scoping the design for the facilities when they come up in the timing of the plan.
Thank you.
So are we happy with the wording now?
Well, it's still a bit clumsy, isn't it? I mean, if I could grab the last statement I made, that would be more appropriate. If the CEO can throw
Where
a few
a
words in there.
management plan would be required?
Yeah.
The word timely could be used.
Councillor McNish, including when a management plan is required?
Including the need for management plans and when that management plan is required.
Yeah, it was meant to be a workshop, but... Okay. Therefore, I need a mover for this amendment. Move Councillor McNish. Seconded. Councillor Lee. Is there opposition? There is opposition. Councillor McNish, do you wish to speak to?
Yeah, I do. It's been, as I noted before, a major gap in, it's a risk actually, in identifying how a facility is going to work, particularly when there is shared use and of multiple parties. I'm sure we wouldn't, if you're housing yourself or your family, you wouldn't go into a situation where it was just an unknown. You need to know who's going to contribute to what, who's got access to what, when and where, what months, maintenance requirements and responsibilities, insurance, all access and egress, all those things, safety inspections, all those matters are required to successfully run a facility. Now, we looked at the Dunsborough Country Club, and they've really got their act together in terms of a management model. And they said that took them some time to do that, to work through all the different parties and how they all work and intermingle up there. And it's going well and they're making good profits. So the same approach needs to be taken. And as Director Palmer quite correctly said, any architect or any facility manager and just good governance needs to know how something is going to work and then design the facility around optimising that function. Clubs need to say, look, we need to open up the kiosk on the match days. It needs to be out of the wind because otherwise people won't stand there and get their pie or drink their beer. That's how we make our revenue for our club to pay the insurance for our contribution for this facility. I mean, that's just a particular example. But it has been a major flaw of going into building a box and then throwing it over to the clubs who may or may not have been involved, consulted along the way, to then make it work. And there's, discussion, argument. It needs to be resolved before time and be a driver for the successful running of the facility. So I think it's pretty well common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lee, do you wish to?
Yes, just briefly. This facility is not intended to be staffed. So who decides whose responsibility is what?
Sorry, we're not talking about the pavilion.
No, but the amendment. So if you don't have a management plan, then who's going to work out who's responsible for what? In addition to what Councillor McNish has said about, the operation of the venue, you can have all those things about the who's using what, when and for how long, but there also needs to be an exit strategy for any of those sports that want to leave as well.
Speaker against. I'll just speak against, mainly because it's my motion. request the CEO to schedule a further facilitated workshop with elected members in the first quarter of 2026 to review the outcomes of investigations outlined. So when we've investigated items 3 and 4, which could be to build some courts, to where we're going to put the football pavilion, soccer pavilion, if they wish to have their own one. So once we've got that information, using that information, that will inform the direction of the updated sport and recreation facilities strategy. The strategy is a big picture document. It's not going into the nitty-gritty. This is saying, hey, in 10 years' time, we might be building a district facility. In 5 years' time, we might decide to build a 25-metre pool in Dunsborough. I'm not going to get a round of applause for that one. So I'm just confused why we are talking about a document within my motion to include the need now for management plans for any facilities. I believe this is something that is part of the overall recreation facilities strategy. So I would please ask the councillors vote against this. Thank you. Speaker 4. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Ryan.
I'm going to speak for this because clause, it says investigations outlined in 3 and 4 above. I believe that council has just voted for the CEO to investigate soccer and their club rooms. And are we going to say that they can build that without any management plan? I'm sure that they would want one and we would want one. But also those things that you suggested moving forward, I think it would be remiss of council not to have any management plan for any facility that we build in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against? Councillor Cox.
This is unnecessarily complicating what is a very simple point in this whole notice of motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaker 4. Speaker against. Jodie, you spoke. Sorry, Councillor Lee, you did speak. Your rebuttal, please, Councillor McNish.
Thank you. Yes, on a reading of the words, Councillor Ryan is absolutely correct. The investigations outlined in 3 and 4 above. Well, we're talking about a facility at this in Dunsborough. It needs a management plan. It just needs a management plan to drive the design in consultation with the clubs to make sure this thing can work for their needs and for the city's needs, and to make sure that's all clear and documented up front. It's actually a design driver, as Director Palmer noted, for salt water. So I'm sorry that Councillor Cox thinks that's complicated. I just think that's vital and necessary, and would be very poor governance not to have that in place at that workshop. And I think that using this Dunsborough example to develop and draft up a typical or generic management plan for discussion as part of what happens in Dunsborough then places us in good stead to use that document and build on it going forward for other facilities in the future as part of the review of the strategy. So I commend you, add these words, because it is a vital step that has been missing up until today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nish. Therefore, I put the amendment that is in front of you. All of those in favour? Councillor McNeish, Councillor Ryan and Councillor Lee. Those against? Mayor Cronin, Councillor Kay, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox, Councillor Kennedy. It is lost 3-5. We now return to the substantive motion. Do I have,
Mr.
if you
Mayor,
can remember,
I'm sorry if I could, and I'm sure it's dragging on a bit, but can I just have a look at part 4? Can I just check that the council is aware that that amendment is requesting the CEO to investigate bringing forward the delivery of the Eastern Extension playing fields for providing a lease and a location for a club constructed, owned and operated soccer club serviced plot. So we're delivering a constructed plot. Is that what, I mean, you voted for it, so I'm hoping that's definitely what you're after, but I need to check because I need to task the staff with delivering. And I'm probably just putting on a caution there about doing things on the fly because that's the risk that you've got if it's not what you're after. Even though a decision's already been made, but I need to say it.
Point of clarification.
Yep.
Who has not spoken on the substantive?
Sorry, who has not okay. If you want to know, I've spoken. Councillor Kague has spoken. Councillor Ryan spoke against. Councillor Kennedy spoke for. Councillor Lee spoke against. Councillor Cox spoke for. Councillor McNeish spoke against.
I believe it's only myself that has yet to speak, and I was going to be speaking in favour of it, but I would like to move an amendment, given the information that RCO has just provided us, of amending it to retracting the service plot component.
Okay, thank you.
And then I'll speak to the actual motion, if I may.
I'm just going to take some advice. Councillors and public, what I will do is I will call an adjournment for 10 minutes. Is that enough time? We've got to look into some issues with leases as well. So we will return at 7:12.
Sorry, could I just make a point? It says the CEO investigate.
Sorry, I don't know how to construct a service plot for you, is what I'm saying.
I would like 10 minutes recess and we'll return at 7:12. Adjournment till 7:12. Thank you, councillors and public. 1 minute. If councillors could return to their seats, please. Councillors to their seats. Thank you. Look at this. This thing squeaks. Councillors, directors, members of the staff, I now declare that I'm reopening this meeting at 19:12 p.m. Councillor Love, you wish to speak for the motion?
Yes, I do. Firstly, I would like to move an amendment. The governance team is just typing up now, just to clarify that we are requesting the CEO to investigate both point 3 of that motion and to break point 4 into 2 points, 4A, 4B, in investigating bringing forward the delivery, but also in conjunction with that investigating what would entail providing a lease, especially given that it's state land as well. And if I will debate to...
Sorry, all right, do you wish to bring this amendment afterwards, or do you wish to speak first to the substantive, or the...
It's neither here nor there, I don't think, Mayor.
Okay, so we'll put
I'll
the
wait to see if
amendment-
I get a seconder and support for this, and then I'll speak.
So that now you're splitting it into 2?
Correct, just for clarification for everyone involved.
To investigate, providing. So it's an investigation. Okay, do I have a seconder for this amendment? All right, so the amendment now has taken point 4. It is split point 4 into 2 parts. So it requests the CEO to investigate, A, bringing forward the delivery of the eastern extension of playing fields at the Dunsborough Lakes Sporting Precinct to lot blah, 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 and requests the CEO to investigate providing a lease and a location for the club constructed, owned and operated soccer serviced, there's a owned and operated soccer.
Mr Mayor, can I ask a question for clarification, please?
Certainly, Councillor
Given that we're not able to revoke what was already passed in the amendment regarding the lease and the service plot, Mr CEO, are you comfortable that this provides more clarification for officers in terms of what we actually can and cannot do with regard to a lease and provide a lease over a service plot on land that we do not own?
Yeah, I'm not sure what a soccer service plot is, but yes, it's clear enough for us to be able to do some work on it. Yeah.
To investigate. Okay, so therefore we've moved Councillor Love, seconded Councillor Craig. Do I have a seconder? I'll second it. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the amendment. All those in favour? Sorry, we'll just do those hands again. Yep. So, Mayor Cronin, Councillor Kay, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox, Councillor Kennedy. Those against? Councillor McNeice, Councillor Ryan and Councillor Lee. The amendment is carried 5-3. Okay, we now return to the substantive.
And
you wish to continue speaking to the substantive. Thank you.
Yes. So there's been a lot of commentary tonight about knee-jerk reactions, suboptimal decisions, and how ad hoc planning is not perfect. However, if council insists on perfect information before acting, the cost of delay can outweigh the benefits of additional certainty. For example, every month of delay may add hundreds of thousands of dollars to a project's bottom line, strain community trust and reduce the scope or quality of the final outcome. It's about striking the right balance between due diligence and common sense action. Imperfect decisions made with the best available information at the time allow momentum to continue while still embedding review points, risk management and opportunities for refinement as new information emerges. This is not a lowering of standards. It is an acceptance that in a complex real-world environment, perfect is not always achievable. Importantly, this council debate process in and of itself facilitates this approach. It provides every councillor with an opportunity to express their views and indicate the direction they believe the project should take. This collective guidance can be provided without requiring officers to prepare a detailed report, which could take several weeks and further increase capital costs. By allowing debate to guide decisions, the council can act efficiently, prevent unnecessary delays and ensure strategic priorities continue to progress. Ultimately, the role of elected members is to exercise judgment, to weigh the risks of acting with incomplete information against the risks of inaction. In many cases, an imperfect but timely decision safeguards community outcomes, ensures financial responsibility and prevents strategic priorities from stalling indefinitely. I'll also like to thank Councillor Kennedy for his amazing pickup and ensuring the inclusion of the soccer club to be a part of the future consultation over their clubhouse so that we can ensure that they will get a facility that will meet their needs. And like I was saying, it's not about trying to make perfect decisions. It's about trying to make decisions that are going to accommodate for our community, for the needs that they need met today. And yes, while it would be amazing if we could have designed and forward thought all this, we had no way of knowing just what the impact of COVID-19 was going to have on our population growth, alongside the directives from state planning towards developing our area. We had no way of knowing all those years ago just how exponentially our area would be growing, and our sporting facilities and communities are the ones that are feeling the brunt of it. So I say let's get on with it. Let's delay upping up costs, and once we get this Northern Pavilion built, we can investigate indoor courts, investigate expanding the soccer's playing fields, and look at how that's going to have a knock-on effect for the wider region and the rest of supplying their sporting facilities too, because we know that this all costs money and it all has a knock-on effect.
Thank you. Right, it's my right of reply, if I can remember that far back. Councillor Ryan said that this was the wrong outcome. Well, this is my motion, and I put this motion forward because I believe it to be the right outcome. I was in that workshop. I did attend. I did take notes. I took a screenshot of the thing, and afterwards we did pop out, I must admit, and had a bit of a conversation, because we were scratching our heads going, where are we going to get this 20 million to build this amazing NCC facility that may have been the perfect match for everybody, but we don't have that money and we can't do that. It was mentioned that Director Barber suggested a different outcome. Well, if that were the case, that's fine. But I think the different outcome is he was saying, it was like we were saying, can we have this, 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 this? And I said, no, son, you can't have your swimming pool and you can't have your holiday and the militia, wherever, the Maldives. It's not going to happen. So basketball, a priority even in the workshop. Absolutely. Basketball has always been a priority. But at the moment, the number one priority we said was to activate this green space. This green space that has been sitting there empty as a dog park for so long, I can't remember. And of course, guess what? It is costing the ratepayers money because we still have to look after it. We still need to water it. We still need to do all the things, yet it's not being utilised for what the facility it is. Viable. We talked about people saying viable. Well, Councillor Ryan mentioned kitchen areas, and maybe that's not important anymore. But I think we've heard from all the sporting clubs saying that actually making money, having that bar is what keeps them viable. If they're not viable, they fail. If they fail, then they're not available to our community. At the end of the day, these are all volunteers running these clubs. And if there's a way that they can make a little coin to make sure that they can afford the kits and etc. And what does that mean to our community? It means about fitness, inclusion, mental health, mateship. The old word mateship, that's what it is all about. We talked about Barnard Park not being able to afford anything, but that's one sporting group, trying to make this survival too, rather than the number that we've got here. And then mention of so far down the road and still nowhere. Well, exactly. That's what my motion is about. We have to stop doing this. If you're driving the car, you can't turn it if it's not moving. So we need to start doing something. Councillor Lee talked about being frustrated and that agreeance was done in the workshop. Well, I failed to see where that was the case. If you want to go back to agreeance, it was May 28th. We were all here talking about building this pavilion, and a large number of the groups all sat there and said, we're happy with this. I would say 75, 80% of those members in those groups were saying, we are happy with this. So again, it's council has to make the hard decisions, and I believe that I have put a lot in place to include the soccer club in some of their concerns that they've continually raised to councillors and to their other groups. So that is why this motion puts that forward. Returning to, like I said, it's been a long time. It is part of the strategic long plan. So again, if we delay things, continually delay things, at the moment, we talk about this district leisure centre, but when we first started talking about this maybe a year ago, we said it'd be in 10 years' time. And now I'm hearing 12 years away. So if we keep delaying things, nothing is going to get done. If we don't activate that space, if we don't build the pavilion, we can't right now, we don't have another 6 million or so to build the indoor basketball courts. They'll cost too much. But we can start putting it into play and working out how it can happen and at least do that investigation. Councillors, like I said, let's hit the play button. Let's get everybody out there playing. It's not going to be perfect, but I think it's a very good option. We've done a lot of investigation into this. The workshop, the designs, everything, and it wasn't done in 21. These designs have been put together in the last year or two. So, and they were agreed to by so many of you here today. If we just delay this, then we are going to cost, as someone said, 1.4 million, 3.5 million, 6.5 million. If you want to talk about a waste of money, then if you don't vote for this, we're in trouble. Councillors, I would commend you. Thank you. Therefore, I put the substantive motion that is in front of you. All those in favour? Mayor Cronin, Councillor Craig, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox and Councillor Kennedy. Those against? Councillor McNeish, Councillor Ryan and Councillor Lee. Therefore, the motion is carried 5-3. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I now move on to item Items adoption by exception, resolution en bloc. The committee recommendations for items 11.1, 11.2 and the officer's recommendation for items 15.2 and 16.1 adopted en bloc. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Love, seconded Councillor Craig. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried 8-0. I will just pause for the gallery to empty, and thank you all for your attendance. Thank you. Move on to items to be dealt on separate resolution. We have item 14.1, the Saltwater Business Plan consultation. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Kennedy, seconded Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? Being no, there is opposition. Just bear with me. So I'm just sorry, please remind myself, Councillor Kennedy, you move that? Seconded Councillor Cox. Thank you. And we have opposition. So Councillor Kennedy, do you wish to speak to your motion?
I'll just move as written.
Thank you. Councillor Cox, do you wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right.
Thank you. We have opposition. Do you wish to speak? Oh, sorry, Councillor McNeish.
Thank you, sir. I am opposing because the issue is lacking in one major fundamental way. There needs to be an acknowledgement of what's actually occurred and an apology to the community for the mistake that irrefutably has occurred, as noted by the Department of Local Government. So I'm moving an amendment.
An amendment?
And
okay.
I'm moving an amendment because that's how it's been listed from the staff in front of me and circulated to councillors prior to the meeting. And perhaps if that can come up on the screen. And I'll read it. That the council adds a new point 2 to the officer recommendation to read, point 2, apologises to the Busselton community for denying it the opportunity, pursuant to the Local Government Act, Section 359, to have a timely say in determining the construction/development of the BPAC/saltwater project. And I'll ask for a seconder and then I'll talk to that amendment.
Okay, you have a seconder in Councillor Ryan.
Thank you.
Sorry, just to see if there's opposition. Is there any opposition? I will oppose. So please speak.
So my reasons listed in the pre-circulated paper were an apology would seem to go some way towards addressing the enduring, in brackets, silent, close brackets, resentment regarding this polarising project. An apology is an appropriate course of action from ethical people recognising a mistake has been made. This mistake.
Sorry, you're talking to. Sorry, you're talking to your amendment. That's all right. Sorry. Yep.
This mistake has had serious financial ramifications, where an estimate of the net present value of the future losses for the life of the building at 4% discount rate is approximately $55 million. And this is the cost to ratepayers after the building has been completed. Now, the community was denied its lawful right to have input to this decision to help the council determine if it went ahead. It was denied that right by what's been called an administrative mistake by the Department of Local Government. So irrefutably, this mistake has caused angst, concern, and denied the community its lawful right. And in the minimum, the council needs to apologise for that. And it's just as clear as that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan, do you wish to speak?
I do, thank you. This is the least we can do to extend an apology to the ratepayers, and I commend Councillor McNish for this motion. Alternate. It was supposed to be a fixed price contract. It's no longer that. Previous councils said no referendum.
Point
it would
of
cost
order.
so
Sorry,
much.
Councillor Ryan, please take your seat. Councillor Councillor Love, what is your point of order, please?
My point of order would be what, with this amendment, the relevance of bringing up the contract cost, like that it's a fixed contract cost and cost blowouts, just because I don't see.
I do tend to agree with that, so I will.
Can I just ask a question,
Sure.
The opinion of the CEO with relation to what Councillor Ryan just said, that it is no longer her exact words, it is no longer a fixed price contract, that is a mistruth, it is still a fixed price contract?
Yeah, the contract hasn't been amended or changed, it's still a fixed price contract.
So have it noted, thank you. And please stick to the relevance, Councillor Ryan.
So, a fixed price contract that has gone over and ratepayers are paying more money, just to be clear.
Councillor Ryan, I will ask that you stick to the motion in front of us, please.
Fine. An apology is the absolute least that we can do to ratepayers, and I support Councillor McNish's alternate.
Thank you. Speaker against? I will speak against this. Firstly, with Councillor McNish, I need to clarify, it's not a question, it's rhetorical. What do you consider to be the mistake? Is it the fact that the business plan under 3.59 was not advertised at the time, or is it that the saltwater project itself was a mistake? With regards to number one, there is no evidence of a mistake. We got legal advice and acted accordingly. Just that another set of lawyers had a different interpretation of the Act. This does not mean a mistake has been made. With regards to two, as for the project itself, first of all, the KPMG report confirmed the overwhelming benefit to the community and the region. And secondly, it is not this council's
Point of order.
function.
Point of order.
What is your point of order?
I'm just wondering whether that information is for the public.
The KPMG report is out there, yes, to this level.
Are you sure, Mr. CEO?
If the question is in relation to the two pieces of legal advice, can I clarify that, Councillor Ryan?
It's in relation to the KPMG report.
The KPMG report, the details of the KPMG report were not publicly available, only the existence of, was my understanding.
Okay, I'll retract that. Secondly, it is not the council's function to criticise or apologise for a previous decision made by other councils or councillors. For example, shall we go back and review and apologise for the decision to build this building? When we want to talk about a mistake, in admin law, as admin law is concerned, we also see Associated Picture House Limited versus Westbury Corporation, 1948, 1 KB 223. It is true to say that if a decision on a competent matter is so unreasonable that no reasonable authority could ever come to it, then the courts can interfere. That, I think, is quite right. But to prove a case of that kind would require something overwhelming. And in this case, the facts do not come anywhere near to anything of that kind. And I say that because we need to understand what a mistake is, particularly in law. And I do not feel that we can accuse past council or CEOs for a decision made when the initial decision was made on legal advice, because a second law firm interpreted that differently. I don't feel that we have made a mistake. So therefore, councillors, I would advise you to vote against this amendment. Thank you. Speaker for? Speaker against? Therefore, the right of reply. Sorry,
Mr. Mayor, if I may speak for.
you want to speak for?
Yes. This is an amendment. There is nothing wrong with this current council taking into account current community sentiment. What kind of modern leadership are we showing when we can't acknowledge to the general public we didn't necessarily make a mistake, the council didn't necessarily make a mistake. We all know that the law is not black and white. That's why there's a prosecution and a defence, and somewhere in the middle there's a judge. So it doesn't mean we made a mistake necessarily. It means that we understand and see and feel the community sentiment about this particular item. This is an amendment. It's not changing it. It's just saying and acknowledging to the community, we understand. This is a contentious issue that has cost a lot of money, a lot more than we anticipated, and that's not counting the opportunity cost, because that is massive. There is nothing wrong with this council acknowledging that there are a great member of the community that feel that they were denied the opportunity to have a timely say in determining the construction of this facility. There is nothing wrong with us acknowledging that, and to my mind, it's modern leadership. There is nothing wrong with apologising when you feel that there has been a disservice, and we'll do what we can to try and mitigate that. That's why I support this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Speaker against? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't actually going to rise to speak to this amendment, but some of Councillor Lee's comments just made me reflect on the decision of council and the beach, the saltwater. Sorry, been debating for too long now. It's quite interesting that the perception, Councillor Lee just said that the majority of this is a contentious issue and the majority of the community don't want the saltwater. The people that are against the saltwater are the only ones we ever hear from now. We never hear from the people that wanted it. It's really, really difficult, I think, in this current time to actually ascertain what proportion, like if you went out and did a survey now about the people that supported it and the people that didn't, it'd be a very, very interesting survey. We have a noisy, in my mind, minority of people who make a lot of noise about the saltwater. Now, is it a minority or a majority? We don't actually know that, because the people that wanted it, they're silent because it's being built. They're happy. So I don't think that we can just assume that the majority of the community didn't want the salt water. I think that that's quite a big stretch to make that assumption. And I agree, I concur with the Mayor that this current council making an apology for a previous council decision seems ludicrous to me. At the time, the decision was made in good faith, I guarantee, by all those councillors who were following legal advice. Actually, I think even one of the councillors at the time was a lawyer and followed the legal advice. I'm certainly not a lawyer. I certainly don't have that training. Therefore, I am relying on professional advice, and it's not in my nature to query every single piece of advice that's given to me. Therefore, I do not see the point of issuing an apology to anyone. With regard to the building of the salt water, it was a decision that was made, and I was one of those people, and I stand by that decision. So I would urge you to vote against this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Speaker for? Speaker against? Sorry,
I'm just going to quickly add, like Councillor Cox, was not going to say anything, and I've listened to both sides. All I wanted to add to this is, in 2020, the decision was made that we didn't have to go out. And as Councillor Cox said, that was acted on in good faith. We then had a second opinion. We've just had a whole sporting body here, and I come from a sporting background. You don't agree with 2 votes, you have to have 3. So do we go out again and get 2 votes to 3 to equal whether that's the right answer? I'd support not accepting this change in motion, so to go with the original.
Thank you. Speaker for? Speaker against? Councillor McNeish, your rebuttal.
Thank you. How sad that a simple apology cannot be made by the council for the previous council's decision not to advertise, which the council itself has recognised was an error.
Sorry, this is a rebuttal, please. Those speaking against you.
So what have I said that isn't addressing comments that people have made?
Well, no one said that. No one's agreeing that we did make a mistake, and you're suggesting that you were talking about it.
You don't
saying
have
that
to
we
agree.
Had someone.
You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with anything you've spoken against. That's your prerogative. Now,
but no one's mentioned in their.
The council, if you're
Councillor McNeish, please. What I'm trying to explain is that, point of order, a rebuttal.
What's your point?
My point is the rebuttal has to be against something that was said, and none of the people speaking against the motion said we had made a mistake. Thank you.
The fact that I raised that has been disputed in people speaking against, I need to rebut because the council itself has resolved to advertise under 359, recognising that there was a mistake. The department said there was a mistake. The department said that mistake was not opportunistic. That's the word it used. But still, there was a mistake. So the council itself, recognising the mistake, has then currently, and probably just the advertising period's finished under 359, has moved to put that right by advertising. Now I'm saying that there's simply recognition of the mistake of not putting 359 out when it had meaning, when the community could have had input into determining if the project went ahead, that it says sorry for that. That's it. And it is not of minor consequence. Let's not forget, and someone mentioned opportunity cost. Well, there's $55 million in net present value losses going forward, and we're screaming out for, another $6 million for courts? Well, there's your opportunity cost. So I think, a simple apology would be a requirement of an understanding.
Again, rebuttal,
council,
please.
Thank you.
You're
Councillor
debating.
Councillor Lee talked about leadership, and I couldn't concur more. It's good governance, good leadership, shows understanding and maturity, and reflects the facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Can I just raise a point of point of clarification?
Point of clarification.
Did the department or anyone else actually say that the word mistake was made?
Yeah, I'd have to recheck the actual wording of the letter. What they said, it was not an area of, there was a difference between non-compliance and one other. I'd need to check for you, sorry, Councillor.
But the word mistake wasn't necessary, that the council made a mistake, because Councillor McNeish referred numerous times to the word mistake.
I don't recall the specific wording of mistake, but I'd have to double check for you, Councillor. Yeah.
The advice is attached to the report. I've just got it open, trying to read it.
Point of order.
Yeah, what is your point of order?
The amendment in play doesn't use the word mistake. So it doesn't have relevance. It's an acknowledgement. If the screen goes back to the amendment in play, you'll see it does not use the word mistake.
I think Councillor Cox was...
No, my point of clarification was that you stated in your debate
something.
that the department had stated that the council had made a mistake, that the city had made a mistake.
Yes, that's her point of clarification on the comments you made, not on this item. So, look, I think we'll just put the motion. The amendment, sorry, so the amendment in front of you. All those in favour? Councillor McNeish, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Lee and Councillor Kennedy. Those against? Mayor Cronin, Councillor Craig, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox, and I will use my... Oh no, that's it. So we've got four all, isn't it? Sorry. I will use my deciding vote. So the motion's lost. 4-5. Thank you. Yes, well, it's lost. 4-5. Okay, we now return to the officer's record, the substantive motion. We've had Councillor McNeish speak. Speaker for? Speaker against? Councillor Kennedy, it's your rebuttal.
Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Therefore, I'll put the motion, all those in favour. Mayor Cronin, Councillor Craig, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox, Councillor Kennedy, those against, and Councillor McNeish, those against is Councillor Ryan and Councillor Lee. Moving on to next item. The item 15.1, the Council Plan 2024 to 2034, Revision 1, August 2025. Do I have a mover? Moved, Councillor Cox. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Love. Is there any opposition? There being opposition. Councillor Cox.
The only thing that I would like to say with regard to this is that it's simply an annual review is required of the council plan. Some amendments have been included. I don't see any benefit towards holding this over until a new council comes. Decisions are made with old councils and new councils all the time. A desktop review will be undertaken next year. New councillors will be able to be part of that. And 2 years after that, a substantial review will be undertaken with the entire community and a new council will be able to be part of that. Therefore, I would urge you to support the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Love. And I would remind you to speak to the motion, please, in front of you.
I would just say that I concur with Councillor Cox. This is just facilitating, now that the council plan has rolled into both our strategic community plan and the corporate business plan, it is just bringing into line the corporate business action plan that we had, action plan report that we had endorsed last fortnight. This is just bringing in line where the actions are sitting for our plan, and like Councillor Cox has made note, there will be a desktop review next year with a substantially bigger review that we get a lot of community input and engagement throughout that process, and that will be in the, I believe, 28-29 year financial year. So I do believe that it does still facilitate new councillors coming on to be a part of this review next year when they actually do the desktop review, because that will actually be looking at the strategic objectives and directions, whereas this is just looking at bringing into line the actions that have been done thus far and what is on hold.
Thank you. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor McNeish, you're speaking for?
No, I'm speaking against.
Oh, sorry, there must have been a delay. Please speak.
I'm foreshadowing an alternative that the council does not adopt the proposed revision to the council plan at this time and shall reconsider this matter as soon as practicable after the October 2025 election. And my reason for that is that it is inappropriate. The outgoing council would seek to impose its direction for the incoming council at the doorstep of the caretaker period. The local government election cycle is established to facilitate updated views driving important direction-setting matters. The council plan should be owned by the new council, which will be making decisions based on its contents. The council plan is not yet a statutory requirement, but it is expected to be so required only after the new council has been established. Therefore, its statutory legitimacy is established by it being set by the incoming council. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker for? Councillor Kennedy.
I'm speaking for because the Local Government Act says in section 2.7, the role of council is to plan strategically for the future of the district. And another section, the role of a councillor is to participate in the deliberation and decision-making of the local government and council committee meetings. So I think it's appropriate to make a decision, even though caretaker period's coming up. Otherwise, are we proposing to extend the caretaker period? So the council, the outgoing council, should technically be at its optimum to make these decisions because of the experience. So I think it would be more inappropriate to backlog decisions for new councillors. So I'd be supporting the motion in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. I'm speaking against because this is the council plan. It's not a staff plan, it's a council plan, and we've had no involvement in the updates. When have we deliberated on it, Councillor Kennedy? Have you had any input into the plan? Ms Pearson stated earlier...
Point of order.
Point of order. Please take a seat, Councillor Ryan.
Personal explanation or answer to Councillor Ryan's question. Well, I believe the contents of the council plan hasn't been changed. It's just been updated because there hasn't been any change. It's just updating the corporate plan component. That would be my explanation.
Thank you.
Can I ask how you know? Because there hasn't been a track change document supplied to us.
Point of order.
Point of order. Please take a seat, Councillor Ryan.
Personal explanation.
Sure.
I believe in the report there was track changes of the outgoing actions that have been completed.
Thank you, Councillor.
And you're sure that no other words haven't been changed? Ms Pearson stated earlier and confirmed there is no date on this. So what's the hurry? New laws say there is no major decisions which should be made prior to an election. We talked about that earlier. However, some of the ramifications will or may require funding in the future. For that reason, I will be supporting the amendment or the foreshadowed alternative.
Okay. Speaker for? Sorry, no, we're not. The foreshadowed will only come into play if this motion does not pass. So we are speaking to the substantive motion that is currently in
So
front of
I
us.
was just, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
I was, point of clarification, I didn't believe that there was a foreshadowed alternative put into play as of yet.
No.
For councillor Ryan to be referencing a foreshadowed
Well, she just said
alternative
she'll
motion.
be supporting that councillor McNeish has foreshadowed that.
Well, just
must be
relevance,
somewhere.
I guess.
Sure, thank you, thank you. So do we have a speaker for? The only thing I'll say, speaking for, is that I actually hope that when we get a new council, if we get a new council, we have a document that is called the council plan. As we well know, the council plan is put together by the community. It is their goals and their aspirations. That is what we are adhering to. I don't think it's anything to do with the council in a sense of our input. Those goals have been long set, so I appreciate that. Again, and I will probably quote that if we are to talk about the alternate, which is to pause, we have seen so many councils in the last recent months go under, and the commission has come in because they continually do not make decisions on things. So I would advise council that that is our job, to make decisions, and the new council should see fit, they will have some say over this. Thank you. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Cox, you have your rebuttal.
Nothing further to add, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Therefore, I put forward the motion in front of you. All those in favour? Mayor Cronin, Councillor Lee, Councillor Kay, Councillor Love, Councillor Cox and Councillor Kennedy. Those against? Councillor McNeish and Councillor Ryan. The motion is carried 2-6. Thank you. 6-2, sorry. The motion's carried 2-6. 6-2. Okay. We now move on to a confidential item. So we have two reports of confidential nature in accordance with sections 5.22A and 5.23B of the Local Government Act 1995, apologies. In order to maintain the confidentiality of these items, I will seek a decision to close the meeting to the members of the public. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Kay, seconded Councillor Kennedy. Do I have any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 8-0. We'll now close the YouTube channel down, close the doors, and ask. For the first item, we'll be talking about the Busselton Margaret River Airport Development Report. Okay, before we start, I will need a declaration from Councillor McNeish with regards to your location and confidentiality.
I so declare that it's an appropriate confidential setting that I'm in.
Thank you, Councillor McNeish. We're just going to turn the volume down. It's all right. We'll just let the governance catch up. It's been a long evening. Just for the public, item 19.1, the Busselton Margaret River Airport Development, was carried 8-0. And item 19.2, the behaviour complaint 008/2025 was carried 8-0. I now declare this meeting, the next ordinary meeting, council meeting will be on Wednesday the 10th of September 2025. I now declare this meeting closed at 8:13 p.m. Thank you, councillors. Thank you.